Picture this. A man walks into a bank. Not just any bank, but a monument to old money and quiet power. Chicago's City First Trust. He's tall, impeccably dressed, carrying himself with the calm authority of someone who owns the room. Or maybe, owns the building. His name? Elijah Akin. A name that means nothing to the woman behind the counter, Sarah Jenkins. To her, he's just another face. Another suspicion. Watch closely. See the shift in her eyes? The subtle tightening of her lips? She's already made up her mind. She demands his ID, questions his signature, makes him wait, and wait, while she verifies with a supervisor. He remains polite, unflappable. But you can feel the tension crackling in the air, can't you? 20 long minutes crawl by. Then, she slams the withdrawal slip down. "I'm sorry, sir," she says, her voice dripping with false regret. "We can't authorize this." And Elijah Akin? He doesn't explode. He doesn't raise his voice. He simply looks at the clock. 10:45 a.m. And he says in a voice like ice, "You have 30 minutes to fix this." The clock is ticking. And what happens next? In exactly 30 minutes, it all comes crashing down. Shocked? You should be. This isn't just a story about a bank. It's a story about power, prejudice, and how one man decided to fight back. Subscribe now and hit that like button if you've ever been judged for the color of your skin. Comment below, what would you do in his shoes? We're about to find out. Meet Elijah Akin, a self-made man, a billionaire who built an empire, tech startups, real estate, community centers, brick by brick, starting from nothing. He's the definition of low-key power. But today he's just a man trying to access his own money. A man who's faced this kind of humiliation before. Decades ago, a younger Elijah, full of dreams and drive, was shown the door by banks just like this one. Loan applications denied for no good reason. Condescending smiles. The sting of being told no because of the color of his skin. He swore never to beg again. Never to be powerless. And he kept that promise. He built his own kingdom. Now he owns City First Trust. Every brick, every teller's cage. But the people working for him? They have no idea. They see only what they want to see. Take Sarah Jenkins. Late 40s. Overworked. Drowning in debt she tries to hide. Her name tag is slightly askew, a mirror to her fraying life. Once she dreamed of being a powerful banker. But life, a bad marriage, bills piling up, a system that feels rigged, drained her ambition. Now she takes out her frustrations on the wrong customers. The ones who don't look like the old portraits on the walls. Then there's Marcus Reed. Ambitious. Ruthless. The first black manager at this branch. He's worked twice as hard to get half as far, and now he's terrified of losing it all. To him, Elijah Akin isn't a success story. He's a diversity checkbox, a threat to Marcus's carefully constructed image of control. He'll enforce the rules, even the unspoken ones, with brutal efficiency, especially on other people of color. He thinks it makes him look impartial, strong. And then there's Chloe Du Bois. Young, idealistic, but scared. She sees the way customers like Mr. Akin are treated. It reminds her of her own family, immigrants who face the same cold shoulders, the same suspicion. She records everything on her phone, a silent witness, torn between speaking her truth and keeping the job she desperately needs. This is City First Trust. A place where old prejudices wear expensive suits. Where power is measured in dollars and the color of your skin. And on this ordinary Tuesday morning, Elijah Akin walks in requesting a withdrawal. $500,000. A drop in his ocean. But to Sarah Jenkins? It's a red flag. A reason to exert control. To Marcus Reed? It's a nuisance, a potential blot on his perfect record. They make him wait. They question him. They imply things. Dark things. And finally, Sarah Jenkins delivers the verdict, her voice tight with something that looks like triumph. "I'm sorry, Mr. Akin. We can't authorize this." Elijah Akin doesn't flinch. He simply checks the time. 10:45 a.m. And he says the words that will change everything. "You have 30 minutes to fix this." He sits down. He pulls out his phone. And he waits. The clock is ticking. The staff of City First Trust doesn't know what to do. Their unwanted customer isn't leaving. He's just sitting there. Calm. Controlled. Terrifyingly so. Sarah Jenkins tries to resume her duties, but her hands shake slightly. Marcus Reed watches from his office doorway, a flicker of unease finally breaking through his arrogant facade. Chloe Du Bois can't tear her eyes away from Mr. Akin. There's a stillness about him, a power that radiates without a word. He's not angry. He's something far more dangerous. He's focused, and he's making a call. Not to his lawyer. To his chief of security. He requests a discreet audit of City First Trust. Every transaction. Every email. Every biased decision. Elijah Akin doesn't get angry. He gets even. And he's about to turn this bank inside out. Meanwhile, the staff whispers. They think he's bluffing. They think he's just another angry customer making empty threats. Sarah Jenkins takes a smoke break, the stress of the morning and the weight of her own crumbling life making her hands tremble. She argues with her ex-husband on the phone, the sound of her desperation a counterpoint to the bank's hushed elegance. Marcus Reed paces in his office, rehearsing the story he'll tell his superiors, a story where he was the professional, and Mr. Akin was the unreasonable one. Chloe Dubois stares at her phone, the recording of the incident glowing on the screen. She types a text to a friend, *, he's being so calm. It's scary. *, she wants to do the right thing. But the fear of losing everything is paralyzing. And the clock keeps ticking. Closer and closer to 11:15 a.m. Let's understand them. Really understand them. Sarah Jenkins. Why does she act this way? Why does she see a threat where there is none? Maybe it's the years of being told she's not enough. The debt that keeps her awake at night. The husband who walked out, leaving her with nothing but bills. Or maybe, it's what she was taught. Unconscious bias whispering in her ear, telling her to fear the black man. To see him as a criminal before he even speaks. She sees Elijah Akin not as a billionaire but as a stereotype. And stereotypes are easier to handle than complex human beings. Then there's Marcus Reed. He's climbed a mountain of obstacles to get where he is. He's heard the whispers, felt the doubts. His own father, a man shaped by a different, harsher time, told him he had to be twice as good to get half as far. And Marcus took that to heart. Too much to heart. He's so desperate to prove he belongs, to show he's not like them, that he's become the ultimate enforcer. He enforces the rules with a vengeance, especially on other people of color. Because if he punishes them first, maybe the white world he so desperately wants to impress won't punish him. He's not just managing a bank. He's managing his own survival. And it's made him blind. Blind to the truth standing right in front of him. Blind to the man who actually signs his paycheck. And Chloe Dubois? She's caught in the middle. She remembers the fear in her parents' eyes when a bank teller questioned their paperwork, threatened their future. She remembers the powerlessness. That's why she records. That's why she watches Elijah Akin with a mixture of awe and terror. He's doing what she doesn't have the courage to do. He's standing up. But standing up can be dangerous. And the clock is still ticking. Louder now. 11:15 a.m. is almost here. 11:15 a.m. The moment of truth. Elijah Akin stands up. He doesn't rush. He doesn't shout. He walks with that same unhurried confidence towards Marcus Reed's office. Every head turns. Every conversation stops. Sarah Jenkins freezes, her eyes wide with sudden, dawning horror. Marcus Reed straightens his tie, trying to look in control, but his face is pale. Chloe Dubois holds her breath. Akin enters the office. He closes the door. The silence is deafening. Then, calmly, he places a single sheet of paper on Marcus Reed's polished desk. It's a stock certificate. City First Trust. Certificate number 0001. And the name on it? Elijah Akin. 51% owner. The effect is instantaneous. Marcus Reed's jaw drops. His carefully constructed world shatters. Sarah Jenkins, who'd been hovering nervously outside, pushes the door open, her face a mask of shock and dawning, terrible understanding. He was asking for too much money too fast, she blurts out, her voice shrill with panic and denial. Elijah Akin turns to her. His expression is unreadable. I built a $2 billion empire, Ms. Jenkins, he says, his voice low and dangerous. I know what too much looks like. And then he delivers the second blow. The one that truly terrifies them. He's already initiated a forensic audit. Every single transaction. Every biased email. Every time a teller like Sarah Jenkins decided a customer's skin color was more important than their account balance. Every time a manager like Marcus Reed looked the other way or worse, encouraged it. It's all being documented. Scrupulously. Irrefutably. You have a choice, Akin tells them, his gaze sweeping over the terrified, guilty faces. Fix this. No. Or watch it all burn. And then, his phone buzzes. Akin looks at the screen, a faint, grim smile touching his lips. The board of directors, he says calmly. Shall I put them on speaker? The conference room is sterile, cold. Elijah Akin sits at the head of the table. Marcus Reed and Sarah Jenkins flank him, looking small and insignificant. On a large screen, the faces of the City First Trust Board of Directors, men and women used to absolute control, stare back, their expressions a mixture of confusion, annoyance, and dawning horror as Akin explains the situation. The denial, the racism, the audit. The room crackles with tension. The board members panic. They plead. They offer weak apologies. They try to blame underlings. They promise internal investigations and sensitivity training. But Elijah Akin has heard it all before. He's not interested in their empty promises. He has an ultimatum. Marcus Reed and Sarah Jenkins are suspended immediately, without pay. A new independent diversity task force is formed with real power, and Chloe Du Bois is on it. And the bank will establish a $10 million fund, administered by Akin himself, to support minority-owned businesses. It's justice. It's accountability. But it's also expensive. And the board hesitates. They mutter about shareholders, about stock prices, about bad publicity. Marcus Reed, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and indignation, finally breaks. "This isn't fair," he shouts, his carefully constructed facade crumbling. "I worked my way up. I earned this." Elijah Akin turns to him. His eyes are hard. "So did I, Marcus," he says, his voice low. "Every single day. And I was still denied. Because of the color of my skin. You want fairness? This is fairness. This is the price of your prejudice." The board members exchange nervous glances. They see their profits vanishing. They see scandal. They see the name Akin becoming synonymous with destroying their little empire. And they know he has the power to do it. One by one, reluctantly, they agree. The die is cast. But the story? It's far from over. Because the forensic audit is turning up something else. Something even more sinister. Something that will make the racism look like child's play. Let's pause for a moment. Think about the numbers. The cold, hard facts that tell a story words sometimes can't. In 2022, Black Americans were 80% more likely to be denied a mortgage than white applicants with identical credit scores. Think about that. 80%. It's not a coincidence. It's a pattern. A system. And it costs everyone. Studies estimate workplace discrimination, including racial bias, costs the U.S. economy over $16 billion every single year. That's billions lost in potential and innovation and progress. What? Because of prejudice. Because of ignorance. Because of people like Sarah Jenkins and Marcus Reed, acting on biases they might not even fully understand. Dr. Lena Torres, a social psychologist who studies implicit bias, explains it like this. Bias isn't always about burning crosses or shouting slurs. It's in the assumptions. The microaggressions. The little things. Like assuming a black man in a bank can't possibly be the billionaire owner. Or that a woman of color is less competent. It's woven into the fabric of how we see the world, often without us even knowing it. And the cost? It's measured in lost dreams. In Sarah Jenkins, who saw a threat instead of a customer, a stereotype instead of a man. Who was so trapped by her own fears and frustrations that she lashed out. Who now, facing the ruin of her career, is forced to confront the ugliness she helped perpetuate. We see her months later in a therapist's office, tears streaming down her face as she admits, "I didn't see Elijah Akin. I saw a monster from the news. I saw a stereotype. I was wrong." And Marcus Reed? His journey is darker. He has to confront the father who raised him on a diet of suspicion and resentment. A father who saw Marcus's success not with pride, but with a warning, "Don't get too comfortable. They'll take it away." That fear warped Marcus. It made him push down his own identity to become harder, colder, to prove he wasn't one of them. He confronts his father, the anger and pain bubbling over. "You raised me to survive in a white man's world," he accuses, "and I became the thing I hated. I became the enforcer. Is that what you wanted?" And Elijah Akin? He goes home. To the modest house he grew up in. He looks at the faded photograph of his father. A man who couldn't even get a bank account when he first arrived in Chicago, treated like dirt. Akin touches the frame. "I did it, Dad," he whispers. "I showed them we can own the building. That we can fight back. Was it worth it?" The silence in that room holds the weight of generations. But this story isn't just about exposing the rot. It's about healing. About change. Slowly, tentatively, healing begins. Chloe Du Bois, empowered by Akin's stand, finds her voice. She doesn't just sit on the diversity task force, she leads it. She organizes workshops. She challenges old policies. And when she uncovers evidence of similar discrimination at another bank, she leaks it. She becomes a local hero, a symbol of what speaking truth to power can do. And Sarah Jenkins? She doesn't just slink away. She does the hard work. She confronts her own biases in therapy. She volunteers. She starts teaching financial literacy classes in the very neighborhoods the bank once ignored. She stands in front of a room of skeptical young people, her voice thick with emotion, and says, "I was part of the problem. I judged people who looked like you. I was wrong. Let me help you never have to feel that way." And one day she finds the courage to approach Elijah Akin, to look him in the eye and say simply, "I'm sorry, Mr. Akin, for everything. I was wrong about you." Akin looks at her, at the genuine remorse in her eyes. "Prove it," he says. "Prove it with actions." And she does. But the audit isn't done. It's uncovered something far more dangerous than everyday racism. It's uncovered that Marcus Reed, in his desperate climb to the top, in his need to prove he was one of the good ones, did something unforgivable. He didn't just look the other way. He actively funneled bank loans, Elijah Akin's bank's money, to a known white supremacist group. He helped fund hate. For profit. For his own advancement. The evidence is irrefutable. Elijah Akin confronts him in a now empty office. The shock on Marcus's face isn't feigned this time. It's pure, unadulterated terror. "You used my bank," Akin says, his voice dangerously quiet, "to fund them?" Marcus Reed breaks. The carefully constructed walls come tumbling down. He confesses. He sobs. He was greedy. They promised him wealth, power, a seat at a different table. He was weak. He saw an opportunity to line his pockets and he took it, ignoring the poison he was spreading. The FBI gets involved. The scandal explodes. Marcus Reed isn't just facing termination. He's facing prison. The board, reeling, fires him immediately. Elijah Akin looks at the wreckage. He's exposed the racism. He's exposed the corruption. But the cost has been immense. And the fight? It's only just beginning. Elijah Akin doesn't hide. He doesn't back down. He calls a press conference. Banks of cameras, reporters jostling, the eyes of the nation upon him. And he tells the truth. He lays it all bare. The denial. The racism woven into the bank's culture. The audit. Marcus Reed's embezzlement and his ties to hate groups. He names names. He shows the evidence. He doesn't sugarcoat it. For centuries, he tells the assembled media, his voice strong and clear, banks have been the gatekeepers of inequality. They've decided who gets to build wealth and who gets pushed aside. Who gets to dream and who gets crushed. Today, he pauses, locking eyes with the cameras, I'm blowing those gates wide open. The fallout is instantaneous and immense. Across the country, cheers erupt in black communities. Finally, someone with power is telling the truth. Finally, someone is fighting back. But there's also outrage. From the usual corners. Racist groups howl. Wall Street panics, watching the stock price of City First Trust plummet. Competitors circle like vultures, smelling blood and opportunity. One rival bank makes a discreet offer. They'll buy City First Trust cheap and bury the scandal. They'll make the problem disappear. Elijah Akin doesn't hesitate. He refuses. I'm not selling, he states flatly. I'm rebuilding. He's not just fighting for justice anymore. He's fighting for the soul of an institution. And he's fighting to prove that a bank can be different, can be better. But the cost of fighting is high. Akin's other businesses, the tech startups, the real estate, face boycotts. Racist groups target them. His net worth plummets. The pressure is immense. The easy thing would be to walk away, to cut his losses, to let someone else deal with the mess. One night, alone in his luxurious, now too quiet office, Akin looks at a photograph. It's him and his father, taken just before his father passed. He picks it up, his fingers tracing the image. Was it worth it, Dad? He whispers into the silence. All this pain? All this loss? The weight of the world seems to press down on him. He considers giving up. Truly considers it. But then, a call. A fire. His beloved community center, the one he built with his own hands, the heart of a neighborhood, is on fire. Set by arsonists. Racially motivated. The news hits him like a physical blow. He rushes there, pushing through the crowd, his heart in his throat. He sees the flames. He sees the destruction. He sees the children's artwork, their dreams, going up in smoke. And he feels a rage unlike any he's ever known. A despair that threatens to consume him. But then, he looks around. At the crowd that has gathered. Not to gawk. To help. To support. They're black, white, brown, young, old. They hold handmade signs. We stand with Akin. City First Trust belongs to the people. Elijah Akin is a hero. They're singing. They're chanting. They're not afraid. They're united. And in that moment, Elijah Akin understands. The fight isn't just his. It never was. It belongs to everyone who's ever been denied. Everyone who's ever been looked down upon. Everyone who believes in a better future. He pushes to the front. He raises his hands. The crowd falls silent. And he speaks. Not with anger. With determination. With a fire that burns brighter than the flames behind him. They want to break us, he shouts, his voice raw but powerful. They don't know our strength. They don't know our resilience. They don't know our brilliance. Our power. They think they can burn our dreams? Then we will build them again. Bigger. Stronger. Together. And then he makes a promise. He pledges his remaining fortune, every last dollar he can scrape together, to rebuild the community center. To make it bigger. Better. A symbol of hope that can't be destroyed. The crowd erupts. And Elijah Akin knows. He will never give up. 1 year later. The city feels different. City First Trust has reopened its doors. But it's not the same bank. The cold, imposing portraits are gone. Replaced with vibrant art celebrating the history and achievements of people of color. The staff is diverse. The atmosphere is welcoming. Sarah Jenkins isn't behind a teller's cage anymore. She's in a classroom teaching a group of teenagers how to budget, how to save, how to build their own futures. She's patient. She's kind. She's found her purpose. Chloe Du Bois stands at a podium, accepting a prestigious award for whistleblowing and advocacy. She's become a voice for the voiceless. A force for change. And Marcus Reed? He's in prison. Not just for embezzlement but for conspiracy for his ties to hate groups. He's lost everything. His career. His freedom. His family. Even his father has disowned him. But in a final, surprising twist, a letter arrives for Elijah Akin. It's from Marcus. A single sheet of paper. The handwriting is shaky. You were right, it reads. About everything. I was the real criminal. Not just for the money. For who I became. For the hate I helped spread. I'm sorry, Mr. Akin. Truly sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know. I was wrong. Elijah Akin reads it. He doesn't crumple it. He doesn't throw it away. He folds it carefully and puts it in his desk drawer. He hasn't forgiven Marcus Reed. Maybe he never will. But he's learning that the world isn't always black and white. That people can be complex. That sometimes the line between villain and victim is blurred. And he wonders, can people like Marcus Reed truly change? Can they find redemption? That's a question for you. Tell us what you think. Comment below. Elijah Akin stands in the middle of a brand new community center. It's beautiful. Full of light and life. Children laugh and play. He cuts the ribbon with a pair of oversized scissors, grinning as the crowd cheers. This is his victory. But it came at a cost. His other businesses are recovering, slowly. The boycotts have lessened, but the scars remain. He's not as wealthy as he was. But he's richer in ways that matter. He looks around at the diverse crowd, people of all races, all backgrounds, smiling, hopeful. This is the future he fought for. This is the change. He turns to the camera, his expression serious but hopeful. Racism isn't just about slurs and violence, he says, his voice direct. It's in the systems. The invisible barriers. The bank that says, no, before you even ask. The job you don't get because of your name. The suspicion in someone's eyes when you walk into a store. But here's the secret they don't want you to know. He leans in slightly. They're afraid of us. Afraid of our resilience. Our brilliance. Our creativity. Our power. When we stand together. When we demand to be seen. When we refuse to be silent. That's when change happens. That's when the walls start to crumble. So what can you do? Change starts with awareness. With speaking up. With demanding better. With supporting businesses that support equality. With calling out bias when you see it even when it's uncomfortable. With listening. Really listening. To the stories of people who don't look like you. It starts with recognizing your own biases. We all have them. It's what we do with them that matters. And it starts with action. Small actions. Every single day. Because the fight for justice? It's not just in the headlines. It's in our neighborhoods. Our schools. Our workplaces. Our banks. It's in the choices we make every single day. Now it's your turn. Be part of the change. Subscribe to this channel for more stories of resilience, of courage, of people fighting for a better world. Like this video if it moved you, if it made you think, if it made you angry, if it gave you hope. Comment below, we read every single one. Tell us, what's one thing you will do starting today to fight injustice? To make your community a little fairer? To challenge a bias? Share this video. Share it far and wide. Keep the conversation going. Because the future belongs to all of us. And it's up to us to build it. Together. Elijah Akin taught us that. Now let's go out and make a difference. The clock is ticking. But this time, it's ticking towards something better.